What's going on, guys? Welcome, Rabid here, and we're doing a Zephyr wallet update, as well as something a lot of us, including myself, were not aware about with Monero regards to what's going on with Zephyr. Very interesting stuff. Keep on watching. Anyway, so a couple days ago, I did release this. There's only 10 hours left. How much Zephyr will be burnt from non-audited wallets? And then we do have on May 6th here, Zephyr protocol announced that there's 24 hours left. And at the time that I seen this, there was 10 hours left. This time frame is now closed for auditing, but just hold up and we'll kind of go through everything because it might be extended. But I want to touch up on something here. Scrolling on down, we can see from Privacy Hasher here, this coin and Selvium are a joke. Inflation bugs, mandatory wallet audit, lame-o, just stick with the real Monero, those amateur forks are not good. Well, what if I told you that all the issues here is actually coming from Monero? So what do we know about Monero? Obviously, it's a dominated CPU mineable coin. It's almost at $300. It is up about 11,860% from its all-time lows here at, just over $1, under $1, wherever in here. Point here is 2017, we've seen over $400 at 470. 2021, we did see over $400 at around 413, maybe 417 there. And right now we're almost at $300, hopefully pushing to $400+ again. But let's take a look at this, which I did find in the Zephyr Discord there. But take note, this is back from May of 2017. But here we can see overview. In Monero, we've discovered and patched. So they discovered this and patched it right away or whenever, however long. But a critical bug that affects all CryptoNote-based cryptocurrencies and allows for the creation of an unlimited number of coins in a way that is undetectable to an observer unless they know about the fatal flaw and can search for it. We patched it quite some time ago and confirmed that the Monero blockchain had never been exploited using this. We've heard this from everybody, guys, but until the hard fork that we had a few weeks ago, we were unsure as to whether or not the entire network had updated. Once we were certain that the network had updated, we notified all active and affected CryptoNote coins, including CryptoNote themselves, Bitcoin, Forknote, Bloomberry, Dashcoin, and DigiNote. Note at this time, only Monero, Aeon, Bullberry, and Forknote have been updated. We have given the other currency as much time as possible, but cannot hold back disclosure any longer. So they're admitting that they're holding back the disclosure, that they had this bug. They're claiming nothing was happening. And, later on, I think they did go through audits and things like that and so on. But anyway, the point here is we've all been blaming this on Haven the entire time. And then I kind of took a look at this, and Haven was forked from Monero. Haven forked from Monero? Yes. Haven Protocol, XHV, was forked from Monero. This is the Google AI. Maybe it's wrong, but anyway, here it is saying that it was straight up forked from Monero. So depending when it forked and stuff, it had this vulnerability, or it forked from a previous version that wasn't fixed yet. So that we are all thinking that this was caused from Haven when the original was from CryptoNote nodes, which came from Monero. So that's pretty crazy because Monero had the exact same bug, back in 2017, maybe slightly before it. I don't know the exact timelines, but it was there, and Monero is still doing well. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the actual latest update on the wallet and audit info and everything with Zeph. And this is posted from Fenzar, the dev there, yesterday at 5:16 a.m. So audit and supply update. Last few hours, get your coins audited, team. I have had confirmation from most exchanges that they have completed their audit, including XT, although indirectly. However, and significantly, we have had confirmations that MEXC has yet to audit all their coins. So they haven't done it. And this was a major issue because I wanted a list, a few weeks ago of which exchanges confirmed that they did this. Because you don't want to go to an exchange where the price is super cheap and they end up not auditing. Therefore, all the coins you bought will be gone. So yeah, it's been a rough time, especially people that were looking to buy some really cheap coins before a possible explosion. But again, we don't know how everything's going to play out. But it looks like they have not been audited. We hope they can get them all in by the deadline, but if not, we are going to have to open a second auditing window to allow for this. It is a shame as it's delaying this whole process by a few weeks, undoubtedly. I think it's more than likely not that we will have to do this, but Cross our fingers. Hopefully MEXC will get this crap dealt with and hurry up. You think they should have been able to do it, or forced to do it, like not even be able to have it listed unless the mining pools had to have the latest version, or they were unable to mine. Sure, they still can't send coins until the next fork when the audit's done, but it was mandatory for them to do it. So it should be mandatory that the exchanges had to do the same thing in order to even trade. So crazy stuff here. But anyway, you know, we have a bull run happening now. We might miss wave 1 of altcoin season if this gets delayed longer. Ultimately, if this was the wave that Zeph was supposed to pump, we might not see the pump happen this cycle, and we're gonna have to wait another 4 years. You know, there's a whole bunch of things at play, and a whole bunch of we have no ideas obviously as well. But you know, it's everything's pumping right now, and Zeph is still sitting here waiting for MEXC. So that does kind of suck. However, we will be keeping the window open for MEXC for the minimum amount of time. As soon as they are done, we will publish new binaries and hard fork to complete the switch and effectively go back to normal, likely 48 hours after publishing the updates. What we know about the supply. So here's where things get kind of interesting and what's gonna kind of happen with Zeph, depending on the coins that are found. Because of MEXC not being done yet and our audit amount being very close to our circulating, we know that we will end with a higher reported circulating amount than the 7.4 million. So they're predicting that it's looking like there is some inflated coins on there from that exploit. We would have had it if had not been for any exploits. Obviously here, that was the point of this audit, to see where the heck we're standing right now. The estimated circulating supply for Zeph is going to be about 9.5 million. So a little over 2.1 million more than where it should be. A decent amount of Zeph. Given that information I have been provided, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. This is unfortunate, but all things considered, it's a manageable result. At least they're not going to close down like Haven. I don't know what the results of their audits and stuff were, but they had to close down their entire chain, and it is now over. They must have had a massive inflation or something happen. Anyway, painfully, yes, but we have the strength to come back from this stronger than ever. The value going through this painful process is providing much needed clarity. Now we all know what we're dealing with in an unequivocal way. We can move forward. Now here's the response of what might happen, and we might see a reduction in Zephyr block rewards to match where the current supply is based on the emission schedule of where it should be. So in response to this, we will likely adjust our emission schedule to reflect the new supply, and we'll be in the same spot now as we would have been anyway in the end of year 3 for Zeph, and is far below the 18.4 million max supply of Zeph before the tail emissions kick in, which is like that 0.6 that XMR has been doing for a few years now because their emissions is gone. But there will still be those tail emissions, so you don't have to rely on transaction fees alone, which I do think a lot of chains are going to be dying very, very soon once their emissions are gone, because coins can't live other than Bitcoin. If they see high block rewards, there is no other coin I really feel has the user base or anything to live off transactions alone. So there's going to be a lot of death to coins coming up, but luckily Zephyr is doing the same as XMR, and we will still have at least tail emissions on each block reward. But this is not decided 100% yet, just being transparent with what our thinking is. The other assets look like they will come in under expected, and we know that some of those assets were likely morphed into Zeph. So there we go. It's looking like we may have some inflated coins, about 2.1 million. They're up in the air on how they're going to deal with it, but they may drop the emissions, which means dropping the mining block rewards to meet, you know, an extra year forward. And that way we're going to continue on. So it's almost like we fast forward in time an extra year or so here, because I think Zeph is what, 1-2 years at this point, about 2 years old. So if they're going to about year 3, you know, we're going to be fast forwarding about a year in terms of emissions. So we will see our mining rewards drop by, you know, a year's worth of emissions. You know, it's going to kind of hurt at first. So if you're mining Zeph or you're not actually, maybe mine right now, because the block rewards could be dropping very fast. But there still might be a little bit of hope, and this may not happen. So that was Fenzer that posted that announcement here. But Renegade here has some interesting things where he's been tracking all this stuff and everything. But anyway, he's saying his data shows that MEXC has 100% audited their coins. Fenzar is very careful. Zeph's core devs are perfectionists here, and Fenzar will wait and talk with Mexi and other exchanges to make 120% sure that you will not lose any coins. You are safe, my brother. So, I am up in the air. I don't know. He's claiming there is no inflation. 7.4 million official supply and 7.3 million audited. A perfection Zeph such as active and strong community. So Renegade's pointing out that, the original numbers that are posted right now are the actual ones and that Mexi is audited, which could be pretty major here if that is the case. Now, I really don't know what's going on. Obviously, we just got to wait and see and get final numbers to really know what's going on. So your guess is as good as mine. What do you guys think is currently happening on the supply? And just let me know down in the comment section. This is the latest update I have for you guys for Zeph. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabid out.